Good afternoon. So I think after this session, the bar is going to open up. Is that right? Okay. Elephant in the room. Does anybody have an idea what that means? What does it mean, elephant in the room? Why is this session called an elephant in the room? Nobody?
Emperor's new clothes.
Calling a spade a spade.
My God, I didn't ask for more idioms. What does elephant in the room mean?
Something you're trying to avoid.
There you go. Give her a bag. Who said that? Give her a bag. She needs one. So, exactly. So, it basically means we are all conscious of a huge elephant in this room, and we are all trying to look the other way and saying, like, you know, he or she doesn't exist. And that topic is about sustainability in the fashion world. And we've accepted the fact that it's the second or third most polluting industry. And we've spoken a lot about it yesterday, you know, today. But something tells me that we're just scratching the surface. We're probably just feeling the tail of the elephant. You know, the elephant doesn't even know we're there. There's a lot more, right? And it's what I would have liked to hear, especially, I think in this room, 100 people, each an average of 15 years. There's 1,500 years of experience. And in the whole IFF, I'm sure there's years of experience, is why doesn't an Indian brand have something more emotional when it comes to sustainability? We are still talking materials. We are still talking tactical. I don't think we are going to move the needle. I personally don't think we're going to move the needle. I got engaged in sustainability in 1996. I was one of the founding members to start the Considered Index for Nike. After that, after 15 years with Nike, I moved to PVH, and we set up their hands-on movement, right? Now, these are the words that global brands use. They don't call double-sided photocopying or organic cotton. They call it a movement. And that's what I was hoping to hear. Why? What's the movement? What's the revolution in your organization? And once leaders believe in that, 85% of what the leaders believe come down to the organization. And then you leave it up to the organization, the tactics. You know, Arvind could have its own tactic. Aditya Birla could have its own tactic. SambandamSpinning could have their own tactic. So we cannot have the same tactic. We cannot have the same table because somebody's told us this is what you do. And we've got to move from that, guys. If we are potential CEOs, CXOs, change makers sitting in this room and on this panel, we've got to move out of that. No more spreadsheets, no more initiatives. Why do we want to do what we are going to do? And what's our North Star? You got to have a North Star. You may not get there in 100 light years, that's fine. But have a North Star. And I'm going to throw it out here, which may scare some of you. Why can't we have a fashion brand that does not make anything, but still be in the fashion brand? Why don't we reframe the word fashion into happiness and confidence and energy? Do we have to make millions to do that? That's what we need. I'm not saying we are not going to be a thriving industry and we got to walk away from all this beautiful stuff that we make. We can, but we just need to balance that equation, right? So we've handpicked this fantastic panel here because there's a lot of experience of change that's happening, and all of them really, really good. I just think IFF 2025 is a time when we walk out of this room and each one of us set a North Star. Even if it scares you, because that's what it's going to take to flip this industry on its head. And India makes a name for itself saying, it's going to be locally relevant, it's going to be thriving, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to have a positive impact on the world. And that's what I believe in, and I hope At some point, all of you get that belief because that's the only thing that's going to change this. So I'll give you a little example. And one more thing, it's not about, it's about the movement, but this session is also about leadership. Knowledge is out there, but do we have leaders? Right? Do we have the leaders to make that change? So I'll give you a little example, and this happened back in 2000 when Nike got on board in the sustainability in 1996 when labor compliance and all that was happening. And a bunch of us were trained, and that's when it was embedded in me that sustainability is not about material, it's a state of mind, it's a culture. We don't talk material when you talk sustainability. Now, it's a value. I relate a brand to a human being. If I'm somebody who walks around my house and keeps shutting the taps, that's my value, I don't flaunt it. But somebody notices it and says, this guy is conscious, right? So it's about what you do, right? Now, I was heading up the kids apparel, a sensitive target segment, and I was the only one that was trained in this whole movement. My team wasn't. And I looked at our footprint, and there was the average efficiency of the marker was 87%, which means 13% of the amount of fabric for every piece we are wasting. Great margins, great fit, great business. Nobody bothered about the waste. Brought the team together, went to our VP and said, we need to change this. He said, do what you want as long as it doesn't cost us money. So brought the whole team together and said, guys, this is one of our biggest footprints. 13% of every piece of apparel, and we made over 300,000 pieces every season. It's lying in some factory. What do we do? The designer said, why do we have that much of wastage? We said, well, the minute you hit your margin, people move on to the next style. So looking at margins was put into the KPIs. Then somebody said, why do we have so much of wastage? We said, we just take the men's fabric because it's easier, quicker for delivery. So did anybody talk to the mill? Nope. So why can't we get a fabric in 40 inches? Of course you can. So you just get the team to think, right? So the designers came up with a fantastic marker which they call nesting, which still happens in the company, where every pattern fits like a jigsaw into another pattern. They closed one eye for the fit. They said that's not important. It's sportswear. It's fine. But they reduced or increased the efficiency to 93%. Better fabric. Went to the mill and says, we are taking 56 inches. Can we get 44? The mill said, fantastic. Efficiency went up by another 3%. Now, just to reduce waste, they managed to increase the efficiency. 2 years down the road, the cost analysts got together and said, overall company FOBs went down by 4%. So to me, that you do it because it's the right thing to do, but it makes business sense. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that. It's always been a fantastic use case, and I know all of us here and all of you there struggle. How do I make a decision? Is it the right thing to do or is it business? Right? And there is a way. So maybe I could start with Niranjan. Niranjan heads up a fantastic spinning mill down in Salem, and he's driven all the way from Salem here. He's driving back from Salem. Tomorrow he leaves to Myanmar. And just share your reason why you're doing that.
Actually, my name is Niranjan, and thanks for the introduction. So the reason why I am heading to Myanmar, because we are doing a lot of specialty. I mean, we are doing 100% organic cotton yarns there. And they are wanting to move from the regular cotton to cellulosic blends, which is why, because of, we wanted to go there and find out what is the reason for them to move from regular organic cotton or from regular cotton to the synthetic fiber or cellulosic fiber, to be very precise, because they feel that they are having their change in terms of dyeability is better, and also the appearance, or it becomes more fashionable. So we are just going there to see why this shift has taken from cotton, especially from cotton to cellulosic fibers. And we feel that we wanted that cotton to be there as part of their life, because that's what has brought up till now, is what they have been using is only 100% cotton yarns. So we are there. We are there next week to find out why this shift is happening. Yes, prices could be one point of view, but then other thing is cotton has its own longevity in compared to thing. And then when you're going for cellulosic fibers, yes, you are cutting down trees, but then when you're doing cotton, it's much more sustainable. So we are going to address the issue why this shift is happening there. And we are very conscious in telling them to stay with cotton, not completely change, but be with cotton, because cotton is something which is organically grown, and and it's something which is harvested over a period of time.
So what I love about this example is the fact that, I mean, he is the leadership in the company. It's not just him who's flying. He's taking his whole team to Myanmar because they believe cotton, for the kind of end user they use, is a better thing to do. Now, that's fine. For Sambandam mills, cotton could be the best. There could be another company that comes about and says, polyester is better because our supply chain for polyester is circular. And we believe that the footprint of polyester is much better. And that's okay. And that's another thing as leaders and as organizations, that you need to be very confident with your point of view. He's absolutely right to say cotton is good for Sambandam mills. And another company would say polyester is better because I know my entire supply chain. I can take it, I can recycle, I can put it back into my clothes. So fantastic for your belief, Niranjan. I'm sure that's going to percolate down to your organization. And that's what they want. They want the support of leaders to say, this is the right thing to do, and we'll try everything in our power to make it. And there was something else you said about something else you didn't have to do, but you went ahead and did it.
It's about, this is one thing which I always want to talk about circularity, which I also emphasize, and also green energy, which I want to throw a light on. See, we are a 50-year-old company, so we were doing a lot of yarns, and then of course windmill power generation, power generation was part of the sustainability activity, which we had taken it right from the inception, because being a large family, and we have something called giving back to the society, and we always we were discussing the same thing, saying that being a spinning mill, we are always on the lower chain of being polluting. We are having less pollution in terms of having a spinning mill. So I mean, where do we draw powers? We draw powers from the coal factories. We draw power from the electricity. I mean, nuclear plants, or all these things which are attributing to the power. But then when we decided that, when we are doing so much in terms of in terms of drawing our own power by having our own windmills, so that was this was back in around 2000, or between 1998 to 2000, where we went into a couple of windmills, which is about when we started it was about 24 megawatt, and then later on towards after the COVID, where we felt that we are not doing much more to the environment. It was not by any push from one of our brands that we are working, and we are working with a lot of brands. And we are nominated by Inditex, we are nominated by Ralph Lauren, we are nominated by Marco Polo, and many more brands. So in spite of all these brands pushing us to go into more renewable energy, we said that no, we are going to take what is completely sustainable for us. And from that point of view, we felt that solar energy is something which we felt that which is not captivated and not used much, and we set up a team where we want to address this solar energy, where it is right on a rooftop in our production, and that is then directly connected to the grid. So in that way, we are consuming directly to places where we can operate through the solar. So this is one initiative which we had taken. We could have gone for more windmills, because going forward, if you take in terms of putting a windmill, that's a different story of how much of carbon emission you are putting. Nobody thinks of that. So we said that no, we're not going to do more. We're not going to do more on windmills, but we thought that we could do more on our own rooftops. So we have now implemented almost around 10 megawatt on our rooftop, It's a conscious decision. It was not by the decision, or it is not forced by some brand which wanted, we should go carbon zero by, so years. So that was something which we took a very conscious decision, that we wanted the rooftop solar to be right under our production, which powers can be directly inclined, but since we are a 24-hour running industry, so we have to, adjust to the issues that we are facing. So this is something which we have done.
Much. For someone who's done so much as Chief Sustainability in the Aditya Birla Group, right? So you are the Chief Sustainability Officer. You want to get stuff done. But I'm sure for you, like quite a few of us here, it's an uphill battle. How do you go and convince the decision makers that this is the direction we need to go? How do you balance those two?
Actually, that you started topic, that elephant in room. Sometimes it is just illusion. Elephant cannot be in room; it need to be in forest. Huh? So that illusion we need to. So as now I am for last 6 years Chief Sustainability Officer, but before that I was not. We didn't have any department called sustainability. But it was very simple thing. You touch on that belief. I think belief is that something very important to start with. If you have belief, your mindset and behavior reflect on that. So I think we started the journey in 2012. It was simple belief. We want to do something more for the industry, society, country and company. And that program called Re-Earth for Tomorrow, we have no idea what to do. We have no department, no expertise. But one thing we realize is that anything you want to do, it should not be in periphery. It need to be in mainstream. And we put 10 mission from energy, carbon, product, packaging, etc. And we put that whole rhythm the way we review the business. You know that CEO, they are very fond of Excel sheet. And they want to see everything in P&L. Yeah. They want everything into, I'm telling that. They want everything in Excel sheet. So sustainability is very complex subject. I think one thing which we did is we simplify it. And we say that sustainability is not adding the cost. Sustainability is not department in periphery. It need to be part of business. It need to be part of our everyday operational excellence. For example, we set target that we want to be water neutral. We did everything whatever possible to conserve water, save water, reuse, recycle, everything. And for last 4 years, we are water positive across operation. We say we want to be that energy efficiency, and then we'll move to clean energy. We save 30% energy. And I translated that 30% is equivalent to this cost and P&L. So how you make it relevant to the all stakeholder? Your CEO will be happy if you are saving the cost or if you are adding the value. So I think we need to make it more relevant to different stakeholders. When you go to supplier, you may have different language. You may have different metrics. A textile mill will understand something differently what garment industry understand. So I think one of the things which we did is we simplify it and we say that this is relevant. For example, in energy, when today we are 67% renewable energy, it's huge cost saving. And clean energy. I think in business, when you make case as a good case for business, sustainability is mainstream. I think in last 1 decade, we are able to operationalize in a manner where it is part of CEO agenda, it's part of management, and it's part of that even last man, even sourcing or manufacturing to take care of that. So I think it's more about, I would say 3 things. Is intent right? If intent is right, you will put right content to manage it. If intent and content both are right, you will definitely get impact. If that impact is positive delta, then you are creating something for society or industry. And I'm happy that in last 1 decade, we have done something for we have 35 brands. Even each brand is not same. Some brand in designer wear that the 50 crore, some in 2000 crore. So you need to harmonize it. You need to get relevance for each brand, where they are and what they. So basic hygiene, which is non-negotiable, and then you put relevance where you are. Who will not save energy in factory, warehouse? Even that green building we talk, today perhaps we are the largest green building certified, 20 lakhs square feet. 12 facility is with platinum gold. LEED, we are true zero waste, LEED 2 factory, globally first. So when you do right thing and you put all that in business case as a relevance for all stakeholder, then you don't need to compromise on that. And other will keep evaluating, because more you do, they will tell you scope 1 is good, 2 is not good, 3 is not good. When even we have gone to scope 3, we say we'll be net zero. They say now scope 4.
Kanika is going to close.
So I think that we need to simplify. That's the simple thing.
Thank you. Simplify and go. I think that's a great message, and you're absolutely right. We overthink, and sometimes when we implement with customers, we say, we don't know where the heck we are going. Let's build this plane as we fly it, right? And that's a great approach. Or good is good enough is a great approach. But a time will come when we have to start really thinking different. We have to reframe the industry. If you're going after the same problem with the same tools, we're just going to be status quo, right? So let's go out of the fashion industry a bit. Oh, it's very much actually in the fashion industry, but it's like around us like a fragrance. Let's go to Vidushi. She's the CEO and founder of ISK, or ISAK as it's spelled in English, right?
Yes.
And I've been following Vidushi's brand for quite some time, and just noticing all the steps they take as an organization. I don't think it's going to be too far in the future where they are not going to be a global brand giving Hermes and Creed a run for their money. So what is it that makes you believe that in the world of fragrance that you have to do the right thing, or why don't you just follow the rest of the fragrances and how they do things?
Thank you so much for the kind words. I hope everything comes true that you said. So we're talking about sustainability. My take in the perfume industry has been a little bit different and more approach-based, as in I would like to talk about what we have been doing. So I'll start with going to Switzerland and France and trying to understand what are they doing right that we had not been doing in India, because believe me, most of the natural, 82% of the natural perfumery ingredients go from India. And yet, India had no position in the perfume industry across the world. It's soon gonna change. I learned about, of course, the storytelling. What are they doing? They go into the back ends, they go into the depths of how they are doing things and talk about the nitty-gritties in perfumery. And this is something that I picked up. I came back to India, and my idea was to grow Indian perfumery, take it global. But the first step that I took actually was to collaborate. Because frankly, we depend largely on the farmers who are growing the roses, the woods, the patchoulis, and the jasmines. And they depend on us to buy those produce. But the farmers also face a major challenge wherein, the produce over a period of time, because of the soil is not good enough. So the produce reduces, and hence the livelihood is also at stake. Now two things happen here. One, the price increases because the produce is low. And second, we get a lower quantity. Hence, we are also not able to make larger quantity of perfumes for all of you. So the first thing that we did was to go and collaborate with our farmers and teach them about simple things like crop rotation. Simple things like using manure or using the right kind of fertilizers. Now, in perfumery, all the ingredients are not 100% organic yet. But we do see a future wherein we could go 100% organic in terms of using fertilizer. Now, these are important because, again, this results in higher produce. So, this is the first step we took. Second, I think I realized that one solution doesn't fit all. So like one of our products called First Train, it's a very popular product. I'm often complained it's sold out. Now, it is so nature dependent. I cannot do anything about it. it's a 100% natural product, and we decided to remain 100% natural there. Now, there are ingredients in the market which, I blend in a lab, I can make something similar to that. But the objective with First Train was to provide the calm that First Train brings into our minds. There's an interesting research done that it releases serotonin into our brains and helps us calm down. So we wanted to stay 100% natural there. But at the same time, we also realized that staying 100% natural with Chandan is anti-sustainable. Because the demand for Chandan is so huge in the market right now that if we start fulfilling natural Chandan, we would get rid of the entire forest within a year or so. So it is a very important step that the government has taken, that they provide a ration on Chandan trees, that only so many of the Chandan trees can be chopped every year to ensure sustainability of Chandan. So here the same solution doesn't fit in both the cases, like First Train and Chandan. And finally, the third step, we moved forward into packaging. Now, packaging is a very important aspect in perfumery. Two things: people pick the product based on the packaging, and frankly, it's a sad part, the fragrance comes second. And also the product has to be protected because it comes in a glass bottle. So we have to spend a lot on packaging in terms of the boxes, the outer cartons, the inner cartons, the plastics, the wrappings and everything. So I feel it is a continuous process on improving and ensuring that we can go sustainable in terms of packaging. What we have done in-house is gradually, when we come across a new material, which like recently replaced 100% removed thermocol, 100% removed inner packaging plastics, and moved to more paper, and there are sugarcane refuse-based packaging materials that protect the bottles and the outer packagings. So those are the three steps, from farming to the production to the packaging, that we've done to ensure sustainability. And frankly, I believe this is like a non-negotiable and a
left.
continuous process.
Thank you.
Last
Thank
10
you.
minutes.
Yeah. Got it, yeah. So Vidushi, thanks a lot. Again, that's a clear story of a commitment and a consistent narrative that we can't change the world overnight. But I think that if you look outside from the WGSN, two type of consumers, the impartialist and the autonomous, they're fine if it's slow, but they want the truth, right? And that's what it's going to be. Have the courage to go up and say, it's not happening tomorrow, but it will happen, and this is what we're doing as a brand. So let me ask Srini, Arvind, and you've done some amazing work with Arvind. What are some of the decisions you take to change the game?
Yeah, so let me talk about Arvind, which is more than 100 years old, right? The philosophy has always been to do things fundamentally right. And that's been there. It all started with the social work, which was actually there, CSR and things have been predominant from the beginning. But then also the environment consciousness has started coming in, because textile is understood to be having a big polluter as well. So what we did was we worked with E&Y and kind of actually identified the stakeholders. Stakeholders came out with the different issues which were actually there. Issues which are fundamental to the textile, which is water, we talk about energy, the fiber, the money, the people, chemical, right? And some of these areas where we worked on, let me not go overboard all those. Quickly in terms of the fiber part, or the entire organic piece, the regenerative and everything else, because we have about 1 lakh farmers working on 4 lakh farmland, right? So for like acres of farmland. So that's a big. In terms of the energy, of course, we have 6 megawatts of energy, which is actually there. But in terms of water was something which was very, very important for us. The reason being, textile is understood to be a big water polluter, right? So 4% of the fresh water is consumed by textiles, and 20% of the wastewater generation is because of textiles. And that was something which we was very, very strongly felt that we need to do something very differently here. So when we had a plant set up here, when the denim laundries, which is actually there, which is big guzzlers of water, we said, let's connect with the municipal corporation here, which is BWSB here. And then we put a pipeline all the way from the municipal treatment plant to our facility, that the sewage treated water was directly used into our facility, denim facility, to use for the processing. And that was the first time ever anybody would have done that, right? So that was not unthinkable at that point of time. And people from Bangladesh and things, they came in and they were literally surprised and shocked, and how can anybody use sewage treated water into this facility? And then we went and stepped ahead, right? So with collaboration with GAP, we also kind of did a same thing at our mill as well in Ahmedabad. So where we took sewage water from the municipality, put it into the plant, right? We had a sewage treatment plant and used that water into the processing. So entire vertical became a sewage treated water, right? So completely zero blue water. So that's the tagline we had.
Zero
Right?
blue
Zero
water.
blue water. Of course, we have ZLD and things like that because we have our own company which is into wastewater treatment plants. So we set up waste treatment plant across. So that's anyway there. But then we said just being zero blue water will not do things, right? So it is also about consuming energy because more you treat, you're going to have energy having here. So we did a lot of innovations. So a lot of time and energy was spent in terms of innovations, in terms of how much reduction in terms of the water consumption you do. So in the mill, when we talked about, we said we did foam dyeing as a process which was actually there. Foam dyeing technology where instead of using, the mill, the traditional mills have a lot of troughs and this thing, a lot of water gets consumed. But in the foam dyeing, basically we have all the chemicals which is actually there is directly put on the yarn. So that much amount of water gets reduced and that much along with that the chemicals also went reduced. So we had technologies like we also are piloting now supercritical carbon dioxide waterless dyeing technology. So that's happening in place. So you don't not using water for dyeing. So that's a big thing happening, right? So it's a pilot which is actually happening.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I want if
5
you
minutes to go.
if you don't measure, you can't see how successful you are. So Prasanna is in the measuring, QA, auditing area. What's your quick advice to aspiring CEOs when you know what's coming down the pipe in terms of sustainability?
Thank you, Shamim. Yeah, sure. So I quickly share about I have coming from the background of sustainability certifications and audits, and I have visited around 600, 700 factories across India because as I'm into the auditing, certification, and quality inspections. So one aspect what we when visited around 700 factories, what we felt was I want to share it to all the CEOs and the leaders in the sustainability. Like the big companies having a team who are skilled for sustainability and then committed to implement that. Like as Mr. Shrinivas had said, as Mr. Naresh had said. So they are doing a pretty good job on the same. And when we go to the next level of factories, like medium sectors and the small industries who are less than 250 crore of revenues, and last 10-15 days I was in Tirupur. We are creating the awareness on sustainability about greenhouse gas emissions. I was there and I was educating them about what is the impact. As Shamima was also sharing, we are second or third, the fashion industry on the polluting across the world. And then the water, if the same pollution is going on, polluting the environment, maybe by 2050, we may be buying a water bottle of 1 liter, maybe 5,000 rupees in Amazon. So that's the situation we may be facing. So that's the one thing which I want to share it to all the leader team is what's the importance we want to be in this sustainability. And not because of some regulatories or not because of some of the brands or customers are requesting on that. For that, I request all the leaders and also CEOs and who was in the participation on related to the sustainability, focusing on the education, training, and collaboration of the team. So making a sustainability team, not like in the awareness program when I was in Tirupur 15 days back, it was all the HR team was there, and they are handling actually the sustainability activity. And when we ask about where is the sustainability team, there is no team over there. So I'd request see how you can look on that part, and also now collaboration with the other associations and government organizations. Like example now, Fairtrade is doing a good work on one of the sustainability clinic. I'm not sure how many of you know about that. So they are giving the free consultation on the sustainability for all of your doubts. And also that's been European Union Foundation, all those aspects. So that's the aspect which there are so lots of knowledge. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Just to the time, I thought we started at 4:20, we ended 40 minutes, isn't it? So that's how I kept my timing. So the 10-minute came as a surprise. But anyway, what is the culture? I mean, you have always been talking about the culture of the future of leaders, right? For what's going to happen in sustainability, what kind of culture, what kind of competencies do you think CEOs need to possess?
Thanks, Shammy. I think we'll need a lot of time for that. At least 5 more minutes. Give me a cheer if you think we can run 5 more minutes. Thank you. So, Shammy, I think, and I think this is a very critical, important question. Because sustainability today, a lot of sustainable practices or processes are done today for feel good, right? Or there is no clear metric really available. So there is a push from the consumer, there are regulatory push, etc. It happens through that. But I think the leadership of the future will be inspired to do that. And I think there are a lot of examples available of intersection of businesses doing, running for profit and running for good, but they're very few. And I think those intersections will be much larger and it'll collide and fully align in about 3 to 5 years to come. And therefore, it'll call for a change in kind of leadership and style and look and all of that. Let me just share a very quickly a story. It's a personal story. And this goes back to about 2011 to 12 when, and my wife is in the audience, she was carrying Akira, our first child. And I think, at that state, right, I'm sure there was something emotionally going inside me, etc. And then I was reading a news article where it talked about Vidarbha and the farmers and the problems that was going on. And then I took a flight and went there. And that was the first visit. And when you have intent, as you were talking about, magic happens, right? People just come along and you meet like-minded people, etc. So in my next trip, couple of more team members joined. And this is we were doing while we were working. And because this was something that interested us at a personal level. And without any idea of the outcome. And then magically we met a gentleman called Mr. Kannan, who is a maverick. He built a lot of solar-powered ATM machines in the country. He's like a pioneer in that. And then he was also trying to do the same thing. And then he figured that he needs to make a machine, and Niranjan may not like it because it's from spinning, but we'll need a lot more entrepreneurs like Niranjan with so much of kindness and purposefulness. So we were trying to fight the spinning industry. We thought that was capital extensive, and that's what we had to really, buckle down. So we created this machine, a small machine, which we called micro spinning, and it was taken. The whole idea was to take it to the farm and empower the farmers to be able to spin. Then and there. And it took us 3 years. I think the previous panelist spoke about time and how the dimension of time is changing. It took us about 3.5, 4 years to perfect the product. When we made the first product, it was not good enough, strength was not there, etc. Ravi spoke about that, quality is important, etc. Then, and we had almost lost the war, right? And then I was having a meeting with the new mill, Anubha Industries, and Aditya, a young man, very dynamic man. He was in office and he wanted to sell because we were only buying from Arvind and Raymond, and he wanted to sell and introduce this new his products. And then I just felt and I spoke to him, ये हम कर रहे हैं कुछ ऐसा मतलब ऐसा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Then he was like, and like instantly he said, मैं करेगा, I'll do it, because edge at looms run at about 13 to 1400 RPM. And this we thought had to run at about 800 RPM, so efficiency was much lower, but actually it had to run at 350 finally when we did the trials. Then we met on the gentleman Krishna Bhandaru, blah, blah, blah. So cutting a long story short, of course it had a lot of societal impact, 250 farmers joined, etc. It had an environmental impact, and I'll tell you, it had a financial impact, because at that point of time, Peter England Jeans' average MRP was about 1,200, 1,250 rupees. But when we introduced this product, which we lovingly called homemade cotton, the product was phenomenal. We created a denim out of that. And the average selling point in about 2.5 years went up to 1,900. So while in the pursuit of premiumizing the brand, this is a product that helped, but unfortunately, there's no clear metric available, right? Till date, even today. And I think that's how, and I think the word Dr. Tyagi spoke about, that CEOs like Excel sheets. I think Excel sheets are reality, and the leaders of tomorrow will have to create this beautiful intersection where, real P&L benefit could be directly correlated to sustainable initiatives. That is very critical. So I think that, I think one more point. I think another thing is very critical that, you know, the
No, we can keep going on all evening.
yeah.
But
So just one last thing. I think also what will happen is that this whole macho, cold, serious look and feel of the leadership will change. Leaders will be far more inclusive. Leaders will come right from the middle of the organization. And I think leaders will be feelers, leaders will be believers, and leaders will be collaborators, and not just the, you know, the takers and the movers and shakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anu, I targeted 4:20 to 5. Is that okay? We started at 4:20, we ended 5:40 minutes is what we targeted, because all we have is a very small video from our very own Sandeep from Switzerland, what he's doing, and then it's a wrap. Yeah? Is that okay?
I mean, it is the elephant in the room. We have to call it out.
So if we could just play Sandeep's...
It is my privilege to join this conversation at IFF 2025. Thank you for inviting me. I believe the footwear industry is at a turning point. Challenges today are also opportunities to lead real change. At Bata, we've been a trusted name in footwear for over 130 years. Inspired by our founder Thomas Bata's belief in innovation, responsibility, and long-term vision, we remain committed to shaping a sustainable future. He once said, "Give people what they need and they give you everything." So we want to empower our teams to be able to do that and help this philosophy drive our vision to meet today's demands while safeguarding tomorrow. We are transforming how we do business, strengthening supplier partnerships like never before, enforcing our code of ethics with everybody that we do business, and advancing sustainable innovation across our whole value chain. From modernizing our own factories and retail operations, to reducing the environmental impact of our stores, the materials we use, and the packaging, we are creating a resilient, sustainable model for the future, I believe. However, how do we go about it? So let me share a little bit about that. We believe change begins with collaboration. To truly transform our industry, we must unite, aligning priorities, sharing insights, and leveraging our collective influence. Together, we can all drive the systemic changes that are needed to ensure sustainability thrives. Let me give you one example on how we do this at Bata. We created a circular supply chain where it was possible, in this case, in Australia. Brand manufacturers, retailers, customers all got together. And one of our most successful projects was born. In Australia, we use 50% of material for our PVC boots comes from a full circular recycled chain. Our consumers bring back these shoes to our partner retailers. Our supplier then converts them into raw material for our new shoes. Sustainability also goes beyond our day-to-day business. It is about acting together as human beings. Our impact goes beyond our own stores into our communities, which has been an important part for us. We work with our NGOs and communities, and all our Bata employees go out several times a year to influence and impact the lives of our children in our communities under the Bata Children Program, a sustainable way of impacting life. This helps us bring closer to our ambitions and all support our people, our communities, and the planet in achieving more. Again, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you and hopefully inspire transformation across our whole industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. And so happy that you took the time to do this. So we have 2 minutes just to say sustainability is about leadership. And for leaders of the future, it's you need a belief, you need courage. You're going to be swimming upstream quite often. You need discipline to go about and do what you said you would do. And lastly, and most important, humility. If something doesn't work out by the timeline you said it didn't, lift up your hand and say, we are still at it. It didn't happen. Be honest. The consumer is really smart, but they're looking for honest brands for the future. Thanks.